everybody. I've had a lot of people ask me about how I make masks and to give them some tips and tricks, and so I'm just gonna make a quick video walking you through how I do it. One of the things is I use an acrylic template, and since I got a laser cutter, I've been making these. They're available for sale down at the Fiberology Lab. If that's not something that you can get to, you can always call them and they can mail them to you. And that's Fiberology in Oak Ridge. So the first thing I do is I lay it down, and I like these because it's clear, so I can actually look at my fabric pattern and make a decision about which way I want it to go. So I'm going to cut this out here, and this is an adult small, there's an adult large, a teen, a child large, and a child small, and they come grouped together. There's an adult set and a youth set. So I'm just gonna use my little rotary cutter. Oh, I missed that one. And cut all the way around it. So you got that nicely cut there. And I'm not sure if you can read it on the screen, but it says cut to outer, cut to inner. So this is gonna be my outer fabric. And I'm just gonna go ahead and use the same as my inner because I don't have anything handy to make a different. But you can always change, the outside from the inside. I like to do that because then I know when I put it on, I go out to the store, I put it on. If I need to make a stop and then get back in my car and then make another stop, I can take it off between. And if the outside's different than the inside, it's real easy for me to tell what I had on the outside before. Okay, so we've got those cut. So now I'm gonna go over to the sewing machine. Okay, we're back. I'm at the sewing machine now. And this is actually a different mask. Okay, here are my two pieces. And when I cut these, I normally put the right sides of the fabric together to cut them. See this one, here's the right sides are in there. So I put the right sides together. So then when I bring it to the machine, it's all ready for me just to line it up and cut. And just a general sewing tip, always start with a starter piece of fabric, always end on a scrap piece of fabric. This saves on thread. It keeps you from getting, the thread knots and messes and nests and all that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move forward. And I have a knee lift, so I raise my presser foot. It's off screen, you can't see it. So I raise my presser foot. I guide my fabric in there. I'm using a 1/4 inch foot. If you don't have a 1/4 inch foot, just figure out where a 1/4 inch is on your sewing machine, and you're gonna sew a 1/4 inch seam on this rounded edge here. Okay, and I don't cut my thread, I just go on to the next one. And now that I'm done, I'm gonna cut my little scrap piece of fabric here and sew right onto that. Reach in there, cut it off, cut this off. Okay, so now I've got two pieces here of my mask. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open them up, and I'm gonna place them right sides together. If you're using a filter pocket, there's, another step here, but I think most people prefer it without the filter pocket. It turns out it's really hard to breathe with that filter pocket in there. And I just really want to salute our healthcare workers for doing this every day, all day. And I honestly never had any clue of how bad it was for you guys to breathe. So my hat's off to you because you have stronger lungs and stronger heart than I do. Okay, so I'm gonna move forward on my test strip here, my scrap strip, and just again, raise my presser foot, place it, move the fabric right up to the needle, again, 1/4 inch, and I'm just gonna follow this edge. After I get it going a little bit, I'm gonna come out here to the other side, hopefully you can see what I'm doing, and I'm just gonna match up this seam all the way down. I don't pin these, it just takes too long. When I get to that seam where the curved seam that I was at before, I just lift my presser foot and then pivot just slightly to make this new arch on the side. And I'll just say this 1/4 inch seam, it's not like in quilting. You don't have to meet it perfectly. Just, you know, do your best. It's okay if you get off a little bit. This is not precision sewing like it is with quilting. Okay, I'm on my scrap strip. I'm just gonna turn this mask around, do the same exact thing on the other side, get it started, pull it out, make sure my seams all match up, and they do. Come up to that seam, my needle's right at that seam. I just lift my presser foot, pivot, keep going. Okay, I usually have more than one scrap strip. Here it is. So I can just keep going, cut, and then I cut that at the end. Okay, now I've got this guy all sewn together. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn it right side out. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to move my camera over here so you can see me ironing, but basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna iron this guy. I'm gonna roll out my seams and press it down like this. Okay, so I'll see if I can move it over there so you can sort of see what I'm doing. Please don't pay attention to my messy craft room, or if you see me, messy me. Okay, so got it rolled out. I'm just gonna press this seam, give it a little bit of steam. Move over to the other side. Okay, flip it over to the top. Just get my finger in there. And once you lay it down, you can kind of roll it to make sure the fabric's all the way out, the seam's all the way pushed out. Do the same thing on this side. Okay, I'm running out of steam. And then the last thing I do here is I just kind of open it up and move my iron in there and press it out really good. Do the same thing on this side. Okay, so now it's starting to look like a mask. So next what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna make sure I'm on camera here. I fold this side in, these little outsides, fold them in, okay? You can see in there, it's got like way too much. So I just put my thumbs in here like this, fingers out here, and pinch and roll it out till it's about 1/4 inch. Now, I'm not really good at guesstimating this, but it's not that critical that you get it right. You just want to be close. Okay, so I'm gonna pinch that and iron it. Okay, again on the other side, I'm just gonna fold these in, you know, kind of like you're rolling up your jeans, and then pinch and then pull it out. Just roll it out slowly till you get about 1/4 inch, and you can see mine there. And I kind of pinch here to make sure it doesn't come out, and then bring it right over to the iron and press. Okay, all right, so now we basically have what looks like a mask. So let's come back over here to the sewing machine. I'm sorry for the shoddy camera work. I am not an expert at this. Okay, so this one is gonna get a wire, a nose wire in it. So I'm gonna show you how I have mine set up. I have these wires. I just buy craft wire at, you know, any of those big box craft stores. That I don't know of anywhere else you can get it, maybe a bead shop, but this one is bendy. We don't want it too stiff where they can't bend it around their nose or it hurts. I cut a 4-inch piece and then I roll up the corners so it doesn't poke out. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to sew a little casing up here for that nose wire. So what I've done is I've put a piece of tape over here. Let's see, you can see I put a piece of tape there and a piece of tape back here. These are my guides. So I think it's like basically 2 inches. Yeah, it's 2 inches from my needle to the right and then 2 inches from my needle to the back. And you'll see how I use those. I'm gonna take my center seam here and I'm gonna line it up with this 2-inch mark. And I'm gonna just sew in about 1/3 inch maybe. And I'm gonna back stitch and I'm gonna come back down and I'm gonna raise my presser foot and I'm gonna pivot, okay? So now I'm creating that channel for that wire. I'm just gonna sew down wherever my fabric line's over here. I'm gonna follow that mark. Okay, and now I'm watching for this center seam to hit this tape in the back. So I know I've got a 2-inch channel on this side and a 2-inch channel on this side. And I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, please feel free to comment on this video and I'll try to explain it. So now I take some you know, needle nose pliers, whatever you've got, and grab my wire, and I'm going to open up my mask. While at the same time, I've got to lift my presser foot. Now, if you don't have a knee lift, you can just lift your presser foot. Snake this wire in here and put it in that channel. Pinch it over here and pull it through. Now, these seams here, if you sew it too close to the edge, you're going to have a hard time getting that in there. So make sure you give yourself some space. You're just going to sneak it through there, and I can feel it over here. And what I've got to make sure is when I pivot to close this channel, that wire is over here away from my needle. Do not sew across this wire. You will break a needle. You will ruin this mask. It's not worth it. So just take the time to feel it and make sure it's to the right of your needle. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to close off this channel, go forward, go backward, go forward again until I get right to the edge, okay? Now I'm going to turn and I'm going to top stitch all around this, and this is where I'm going to enclose my elastic. Speaking of, I've not cut my elastic, so let me do that. I cut 6 inches of elastic. Not sure you can see what I'm doing. I've got a little 6-inch ruler here. It's the bomb. This is a Creative Grids ruler. They make great products. Okay, so I've got 6 inches here. I'm just going to cut that right off at the edge. All right, so now, got my elastic ready. So over here, really close to this edge, tuck this elastic in right at this edge. I've got about maybe 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch in there. Just gonna hold it in place. So right up to the edge, leave my needle down, pivot. I love to say pivot, because I'm a Friends fan. Okay, now, sometimes it doesn't want to go because there's all that bulk. If you've got one of these little presser foot razors, put it back there. If you don't, just get some scrap fabric or something like that, wad it up, put it behind your at the back side of your presser foot, and then it should just be smooth sailing. Now, I said that and it didn't want to go. Sometimes I have to guide it. I'll raise my presser foot, raise my needle, and just scoot it forward a little bit, and then it should keep going. Now, I'm going to back up and back stitch over that, and then go forward again. And so I always go over those elastic joins 3 times. I go forward, back, forward to really make sure it's caught in there. And now I'm going to take my elastic, make sure it's straight. We don't want twisty elastic, and put it in on this side. You can see it's straight there. There's no curve to it. Okay, go forward, come to the edge. So we went forward, now we go back, and then now we go forward again. Okay, now we're going to stop here, leave our needle down, pivot. And if you can see, my sewing or my presser foot has a little, basically 1/8 guide, just so I can easily top stitch around this. And your foot may not have that, so you're just gonna have to do your best. Just try to top stitch around it. Don't feel like you have to change the foot out. Just do your best. Okay, so I'm getting ready to come to a little bit of a bulky seam, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go fast, and I'm going to keep my hand to the left of the presser foot and kind of guide my my fabric through so it doesn't get clogged up. If you go real slow over that, it may get caught on that bulk. So if it does, you just want to use that same trick with the presser foot razor or whatever. I'm sure I'm not using the right technology here, or terminology, goodness. Okay, so I'm coming up to the next side, so I'm just gonna tuck that elastic in again, and you can see, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm just opening that side up, pressing that elastic in there, sewing right to the edge of it. Sometimes these stitches catch it, sometimes they don't. That's okay. I know that these will catch it right here. Okay, so forward, back, forward. Okay, again, we're gonna smooth out our elastic so there's no twist. Place it in on the other side. Forward, back, forward, right up to the edge, pivot. Okay, now I'm coming right up to where I started. Here's my channel, see it? Hopefully you can see it. Here's my channel, I'm right up there to it. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go forward, back, forward, just to lock in those stitches. Now I'm gonna pivot and sew right off the edge. Okay, find my scissors and snip right along that edge of that fabric there. See, I've got just a little bit of thread hanging out, and that's okay. So We have our channel up here with our wire. We top stitched around. We grabbed this elastic here. See, the elastic doesn't have any twist in it. We came down, grabbed this elastic, top stitched around this side, over to here, grab the elastic, here, grab the elastic, and here up to where we started, and then that's where we close. All right, I hope this makes sense. The best thing is, because you use this scrap, you are just ready to go on another mask. Now, when I'm doing these, I don't ever do one at a time like this. I will line up several masks, like I've got 3 more masks here to make. So I'll get my curved seams, I'll just chain piece them together. Chain piecing is just where you go from one piece to the next and it forms a great big long chain. So I'll do all those. I'll cut them all off, open them up, and then just do the side seams one after another until I'm done. And then the other side seams, turn them inside out, press them, press the sides in, and then individually I'll finish each one up. And it goes pretty fast. So I hope that you like this video. Again, if you need those mask templates, they are a time saver. Get you a little rotary cutter. The big ones work, but the small rotary cutter really makes a difference in getting around those curves. So if you need the mask template, call Tony down at Fiberology Lab. She has them for sale. And if you have any questions or anything here didn't make sense, please reach out to me. You can contact me. My email address is Emily, E-M-I-L-Y, at emilysmartdesigns.com. And that's E-M-I-L-Y, S-M-A-R-T-T, designs.com. 2 T's and smart. All right, happy sewing. Be safe.